An aircraft boneyard is a storage area for aircraft that have been retired from service, as we saw when Ronald took Cindy to the boneyard in Tucson for their last paid date in this week's episode, Can't Buy Me Love. Now, aircraft boneyards are like the scrap yards my dad used to frequent when he needed a new part for a classic car he was working on, but for planes. My dad never had a plane. And boneyard facilities are really interesting because, of course, planes get retired, but I don't think a lot of us think about what happens to a plane once it's no longer in service. Well, they go to these boneyards that are generally located in the southwestern US because the dry desert air helps preserve parts when they are needed to rehab an existing plane. And then also the dry soil makes it so that they don't even have to pave a runway. So it's a cost-effective option on so many levels. You might even remember previous episode Con Air when the convicts made a pit stop at a boneyard in an attempt to get to Las Vegas because, of course, criminal wackiness was ensuing. Now, many boneyards throughout the southwestern United States are privately owned and operated, but the one Ronald and Cindy visited was the 309th Aerospace Maintenance and Regeneration Group at Davis-Monthan Air Force Base in Tucson, Arizona. Once an aircraft gets to a boneyard, it's stripped of many of its useful parts, including windows, seats, and most importantly, engine equipment. Engines, as well as most electronics, munitions, and wiring to be removed are recycled or kept in warehouses. So that's why in boneyards, you see a mostly empty fuselage. Once the plane needs to be reconditioned, this process involves putting in new avionics, electronics, safety measures, testing, and of course, painting. Reconditioning of old aircraft is generally a cheaper way of getting more aircraft into service than buying new ones and saves the United States billions of dollars annually. And sadly, due to changes in Air Force security protocols in our post 9/11 world, boneyards typically do not allow visitors and no longer provide tours. I guess Ronald and Cindy were the lucky ones who got to see a boneyard for themselves, even though it involved maybe a little bit of criminal trespass since we saw them hop the fence. But again, different world. It was an 80s comedy. What are you gonna do? So go ahead and give the subscribe button a very clear 10-4, buddy, so you never miss a thing. We enjoy bringing you all of our fantastic comment. We appreciate our listeners, our subscribers, our viewers. Remember, new episodes of the Real Relationships podcast premiere every Thursday. New episodes of this show also premiere every Thursday on YouTube. Besides that, we are on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and now Blue Sky. So follow us on all of our channels so you never miss a thing.